Good, happy Wednesday morning. Is Wednesday, July 27, 2022. I'm Riley King. Welcome to this Wednesday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Wednesday morning, so let's get started right now. First up, silver alert issued for 22-year-old man from where? Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
And we do have breaking news right now. There is an alert for a missing vulnerable adult in Ware. Officials say 22-year-old Liam Sullivan is autistic. He was at his home in Ware last night, but around 4 this morning, a family member noticed a vehicle was missing. It was found abandoned on Route 202 in Henniker just a few hours later. Sullivan was last seen wearing tan chinos with no shirt and a flashlight attached to his pants.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Search underway for inmate who escaped Belknap County Jail through laundry room. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Wayfair has everything I need to make my home totally me. Sometimes I'm a homebody, so cozy.
I'm definitely going to be making sure to, keep my valuables and all of that locked, but...
People in Laconia concerned as law enforcement searches for 57-year-old Peter DiBiaso. Officials say he escaped from the Belknap County Jail at around 8:30 last night. They didn't notice he was missing until an hour later. By the time dogs were on the trail,
they weren't able to pick up the scent. We believe that there was just a little bit of time that had passed.
According to the Department of Corrections, DiBiaso is facing a slew of charges, including domestic violence, criminal threatening with a deadly weapon, stalking, and being an armed career criminal. He's considered dangerous.
It's not necessarily what they're going to do to get themselves out of this. It's what they're going to do to keep themselves from getting caught. That's the most concern for us.
The superintendent of the Belknap County Department of Corrections says DiBiaso broke out of the laundry room, forced his way out of an exterior door, and scaled a 10-foot fence with no razor wire on top.
It's time for that portion of the facility to be removed and a new portion built.
Authorities say DiBiaso was caught on surveillance video north of the jail. They believed he would eventually try to make his way south. As he was last apprehended in Florida, he was then brought to New Hampshire to face current charges. The sheriff says he does believe DiBiaso is acting alone, but DiBiaso does have family and friends in the area. He asks anyone who knows anything to contact authorities. Live in Laconia, Grace Feinerman, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Testimony begins in Randolph crash. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
We ended up seeing from dead bodies to debris everywhere and to people on the side, semi-harmed, but just a little bit shooken.
A Manchester woman on her way to Girls' Weekend took some of the most graphic images of the scene that were displayed for the jury and sparked tears among trial watchers.
I saw a dead body missing a leg.
It felt almost like coming upon a plane crash.
Dartmouth endurance coach Jim Anderson took video of the scene and told the court it was 20 or 30 minutes before emergency crews arrived. Other witnesses testified about seeing a truck weaving and crossing the double yellow line on Route 2 that day.
The driver's side wheels were over the center line.
Ann Barron is a nurse from Maine, traveling that day to Vermont with her family. her husband was driving and alerted her to swerving ahead.
The full truck was on the left-hand side over the yellow line the second time.
The state made clear to the jury in opening statements that the swerving testimony is critical to the case because the defense is arguing it was the lead motorcyclist who caused the crash.
Almazer was drunk. You already heard how we know that. Blood alcohol, 0.135 milligrams per milliliter. You may or may not know, but you'll hear that well above the legal threshold for a presumptive impairment.
This is the story of threat and the one wallet that started it off. It's a story of love and adventure and...
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Legal expert weighs in on ongoing statements in Randolph crash trial. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
And tonight, a legal expert is now weighing in on the opening statements from both sides, saying while they're not considered evidence in trials, this is an opportunity for the prosecution and defense to tell the jury what to expect in the coming days and weeks.
The prosecution was really driving home that one fact that they kept repeating throughout their opening statement was that he said he caused the crash. He caused the crash. They must have used that phrase many, many times during their opening statement. So they're really focusing on the fact that he has admitted to this. They have to counter, that hammering home by the state of, that he said he caused the crash. So their opening statement focused on the fact that it was one of the victims who caused the collision.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. NTSB releases results of investigation in death of railroad worker in 2021. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Tonight, the NTSB is out with the results of its investigation into the death of a railroad worker in Newington last year. 61-year-old Dale Jenkins of Seabrook was killed after getting pinned between two rail cars in May of 2021. Investigators now say that happened because he did not follow all safety rules.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire AG's office sues pharmacy chains over alleged dispensing of opiates. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
According to the New Hampshire Attorney General's office, the Granite State is among the top 5 states with the highest rates of opioid-involved deaths. In 2020, New Hampshire experienced an opioid overdose death rate of 26.9 per 100,000, higher than the national average of 21.4 deaths per 100,000. The AG's office says pharmacies are a contributing factor.
We need to do whatever we can to make sure that people are held accountable.
On Tuesday, New Hampshire filed a lawsuit against a number of pharmacy chains, among them Walgreens, Rite Aid, and CVS.
So this is a continuation of the work we've been doing since 2015 in looking at the opioid companies, the manufacturers, the distributors, and now the major pharmacy chains.
Deputy Attorney General James Baffotti says the pharmacies helped create the opioid epidemic by ignoring what the AG's office describes as obvious red flags, including seemingly healthy patients seeking pain medications, cash transactions for prescriptions, and a high number of opioid deliveries.
They have an obligation on the company itself to alert the authorities, in this case the DEA, or it could be the Board of Pharmacy, the Board of Medicine, saying that these were suspicious amounts of opioids that were going out their door and that needed to be looked at. They didn't do that.
And tonight, News 9 has reached out to Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid. A representative for Walgreens tells us they're not providing any comment at this time. We have not received a response from CVS or Rite Aid. Reporting live in Manchester, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Five new COVID-19 deaths reported in New Hampshire. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Tonight, the state is releasing 5 days worth of new COVID-19 data. There are more than 1,200 new cases, with nearly 500 from Monday alone. COVID-positive hospitalizations are now down to 95. That's from over 100 yesterday. And 19 tonight are receiving COVID-specific treatment. There are also 5 new deaths to report in the state.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. UNH Survey Center poll reveals first choice candidate for likely Dem votes. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Mid-2024 tonight, and the new poll from the UNH Survey Center showing only 1 in 5 Granite Staters want President Biden to run for a second term. When given a list of people considering a run, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg gets the most support from likely Democratic voters with 17%. President Biden comes in second with 16%. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren and California Governor Gavin Newsom come in with 10% each, followed by Senators Amy Klobuchar and Bernie Sanders, and then Vice President Kamala Harris.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. Shooting at Dallas Love Field captured on video. Officer praised for saving lives. Let's take a listen to that video from Fox 4 Dallas Fort Worth.
The Dallas Police Department released surveillance video and body cam video showing yesterday's shooting at Love Field.
Video shows the shooter, a woman, firing shots in the air, hitting the ceiling near the check-in counter. Police say she then aimed her gun at a nearby officer who shot her. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager joins us with the video and more about the suspect too. Peyton.
Steve, the investigation continues. ATF and the FBI working together to try to pinpoint where the gun came from. But today, at today's press conference, Chief Eddie Garcia commended the officer who stopped the threat and then guided terrifying passengers to safety even after he was shot at. Tense moments at the Love Field Airport terminal as a Dallas police officer springs into action to stop a woman opening fire with terrified travelers feet away. Police released surveillance video from Monday's incident that they say shows 37-year-old Portia Adufua pulling out a handgun, firing into the air. The crowd scatters. Police say Adufua points the gun at an innocent bystander and then shoots at a DPD officer taking cover behind a ticket kiosk. Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia identified the officer as 15-year veteran Ronald Cronin, who then shoots Adufua in the leg. No one else was injured.
I know his actions saved lives and prevented more injuries.
According to police, an Uber driver not involved in the case dropped off Adufua at the airport just before 11 a.m. Monday. Adufua walks to the bathroom wearing a black hoodie. She comes out with the hood tight over her head and hands in her pockets. Witnesses told police Adufua wanted to make an announcement while walking near the counter. According to an arrest warrant affidavit, Adufua claimed she had marriage issues and that she was going to blow the place up. The comments capturing the attention of Officer Cronin. Police say Adufua fired 2 rounds into the ceiling and 1 round at Officer Cronin after the officer ordered her multiple times to drop her weapon. Officer Cronin's body camera video picks up after he shot Adufua. Other officers working at the airport move in. They approach Adupawa cautiously with the gun still on the ground. The gun now part of a joint investigation with ATF and the FBI.
It was not registered to her. Obviously, she got it from somebody else.
Dallas police say Adupawa has been prohibited from owning a firearm since 2018 because of a prior criminal history that includes arrests for bank robbery, arson, and false reporting. Here's a mugshot from a 2021 arrest. Online court records show some of the cases were dismissed, and Adupawa was found incompetent to stand trial. Adupawa also has a history of mental health evaluations following arrests. Police say in 2016, Adupawa was denied the purchase of a firearm twice at a Balk Springs pawn shop due to an outstanding traffic warrant. Police say Adupawa is still in the hospital, now charged with aggravated assault of a public servant, and federal charges could be coming. Also at today's press conference, the FBI confirmed it was never notified about the 2019 bank robbery charge. That case was dismissed along with others. Steve and Heather, back to you.
All right, Peyton, thank you.
Check out the arms. My arms look way bigger than they actually are. I'm 6'2", 190 pounds.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And thank you for tuning in and watching this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great day, everyone, and goodbye.